What with the X-T4 being announced, the T2 can now be found at some crazy cheap prices on the used market, and it should only get better this year, so I thought we'd talk about why the X-T2 is a great choice on the second-hand market, and dare I use this YouTube phrase again, even in 2020. Firstly, let's talk about the build quality. We all know that these days they don't make them like they used to, but let's be fair, the T2 has barely aged at all. This all-metal body is made in Japan for what it's worth to some of you, and for me, it doesn't have any real build quality issues. I've had mine since 2016, and it's been on many weddings and events and shot countless frames, and even substituted from my X-T3 for video for a while the T3 was in for a HDMI port repair, and if it weren't for the scratches on the edges of my screen, this T2 would still be as mint as the day I bought it. Unless it's really been abused, you should find a lot of almost mint examples secondhand for maximum $450 easy. Secondly, the feel factor. Now, this is a weather-sealed body that fits nicely in the hand. If you need an extra, you can slip a cheap grip on, which works superbly on long shoots. The dials and the buttons make everything very easy to use on the run, at least for me, and the screen gives you extra play out and about, allowing you to shoot from high and low angles a lot easier. Of course, it's a personal preference, but this was the camera design that felt best in my hands, and it soon became second nature from day one when I bought the X-T1 on release. For most of you, it will feel like a nice, small, yet very capable camera that will still feel good at the end of a long wedding shoot, for example. To all intents and purposes, it feels just as good in the hand, in use, as the X-T3. 4K video. Obviously, this might not appeal to everybody, but the camera outputs an excellent 4K and 1080p video file, and that's even before using F-Log or outputting to an external recorder. Now, the AFC might not be quite as good as the newer T3, but even when I've used it for pieces to camera on a channel like this, in a studio environment like this, it's only lost focus a couple of times, and then only for a split second, which, to be fair, you might have noticed in some recent videos. But don't let that put you off. It works really well. It doesn't have face tracking in 4K, but, you know, we survived long enough. It's no wonder that certain big YouTube channels started using the T2 for their A and B roll when this came out, even though they already had Sony and Panasonic gear that was very capable. The winner for me is the Fuji colors. Using the film simulations in video mode is so easy and really beautiful. Like we said before, you can go even further if you shoot F-Log or even 8-bit and edit afterwards, but you can just keep it simple and still get a quality output. Value, well, clearly this is no-brainer. For around £450, you get a twin card slot, weather resistant, 4K capable, really capable camera, producing beautiful Fujifilm colors that's fast enough for most actual photographers, unless you're concentrating on something like pro sports, for example, and then you might not even be looking at this system anyway, arguably. But for weddings, events, portraits, travel, and so on, this camera has more than most photographers would need, even in this modern age, this 2020, where so many want so much but do so little with what they already own. Yes, there are so many good cameras out there, and it often just comes down to what feels good for you personally. At these prices, it's a no-brainer, and you don't need to feel bad that you can't go with the latest models. This works great for 99% of us, those of us that don't need the latest and greatest or simply can't afford it. Back to that question, should I trade it in for the T4? Do I really need to? Well, we spoke about it recently, and honestly, I feel the T2 has earned enough respect to not be dismissed so soon, hence this little video. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.